Welcome back to Talk of the Town, brought to you by Uniquely Nelson. I'm Chris Butler, and joining me once again, Simon Duffy, General Manager of Uniquely Nelson. Nice to have you back, Simon. We're recording today from Matthews Eyewear Sports Vision on Hardy Street, and it's the home of the Spectacle, powered by Puma, which returns this December, 5th and 6th in actual fact. Our guest is pretty much well known now around town. He's an insurance broker, a kidney transplant recipient, and actually president of the New Zealand Transplant Games Association, and now a proud sponsor of the Spectacle through the Nelson Marlborough Insurance Brokers. It's great to have Conal Beban with us. G'day.
Excellent.
Conal, nice to have you here, mate.
It's an honour and privilege.
Mate, before we get into your health journey, so the involvement in the Spectacle, can you tell us a little bit about your background, where you come from originally, and how'd you end up in sunny Nelson?
Yeah, well, I've been all over the place, sort of. So originally born in Greymouth on Black Friday the 13th. So I kind of still consider Greymouth home, but we left there when I was about 2 or 3 and moved to Kuria. And spent some time in Kuria, back to Fairlie, and then I went to boarding school actually in Oamaru, university in Dunedin, had a job in Christchurch for a bit, and a couple of years overseas, back to Christchurch, and then we made the move to, we had a brief stop in Blenheim, and then made the move to Nelson in 2014. So just had the opportunity to come here, and I kind of like living in smaller towns, and Nelson appealed because of the sunshine hours, you wouldn't know it today, and the smaller community, and it kind of reminds me a bit of the coast, just with better weather. So that's how we ended up in Nelson. So
it's been the 10 years. It's only a short time, but 10 years is so you've built strong roots through businesses in the community, through the work you do. What is it about Nelson that has kept you here and have made Nelson your home?
Well, it's like you talk about the community, I suppose. So moving here and never having lived here, like I spent 10 years in Christchurch, and hopefully there's not many Christchurch people listening to that. But when you live in Christchurch, those people are born there, they go to school there, university. It's the best place in the world. Yeah. It's quite hard to break into. And one thing I found about Nelson was that, all the people I know in Nelson have pretty much moved here, and there's a different mindset. Yeah. And it's a welcoming community. There's some really great people here, good businesses, and there's some cool things happening.
Well, I'm glad that's happened, because Nelson always had this reputation of being a bit clicky, and you had to get inside the circles. Maybe that was early days when people had lived. But you're right. I mean, when I came home, there were a lot more people that moved to Nelson.
Yeah,
from other places. Yeah. So
and especially overseas.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, coming back home to roost.
Did you holiday here where you're living on the West Coast?
No. No. I think I've been to Nelson like 3 times before we moved up here. Yeah, one for a funeral. So I'd never really been here for too long. But it certainly is, like Nelson, when I moved here, everyone told me that it was a clicky place.
Yeah.
I found it really easy to kind of and not a great decision to move to a town you'd never lived in and open up a business, but it was it's worked, and it was and that's just through generosity of the people in Nelson, really.
Yeah. And it's funny, because I came home after being away a good 10 years, thinking, I'll set up the business, and I know a lot of people here, and they'll do business with me. Quite the opposite. Yeah. They probably all knew me and said, not doing business with him.
Yeah. I understand that.
But what I mean by that was that all of a sudden you didn't know so many people. There'd been quite a few people that moved here. And of course, I started dealing with a lot of people I hadn't met before, in business. So it's pretty hard either way, isn't it, to get off the ground?
Yeah. It's probably the same. Anywhere starting a new business is not easy, I suppose.
No,
But I certainly don't regret doing that in Nelson. Yeah.
So just sort of going back to your, we mentioned the health, and we mentioned about being a kidney recipient, transplant recipient. So how did that come about? When did you start to notice that perhaps all the cylinders weren't quite going in the same direction?
Well, yeah. I suppose
How else do I put that?
that sounds right. Williams? Yeah. Well, so it was about 2017, and I probably hadn't looked after. Well, I hadn't looked after myself very well. I quite enjoyed a beer and having a bit of fun, but I never was really into fitness or anything. So, and like most guys, I put off going to the doctor, and there was a bit where I just felt like I'd be talking to you now, and I was puffed. I was out of breath, like I'd been on a big run, and for some reason, unbeknown to me, I actually did decide to go to the doctor. And they asked me what it was, and I said, I think it's asthma, and we agreed. And so I had some pills, some prednisone steroid, which normally clears up asthma and things, and then I couldn't sleep properly. I didn't sleep properly for about 3 days, and I remember having to sleep sitting up so I could actually breathe. And so I actually did go back to the doctor, which I normally wouldn't have done, and they put me on an ECG machine. And it came back a bit weird, and I remember he made me wait outside his room, and of course I could see some of it, so I'm googling these things, which is never a good idea.
Dr. Google.
And then next he came back and said, I need you to drive yourself to the hospital. Oh, okay, where do I go? So I go to the emergency department. So I drove in there, and then, I suppose I kind of found it was serious when, well, I thought it was all an overreaction. But I'm in there, and then this nurse, a young nurse, if you've been in the emergency department in Nelson Hospital, you kind of, all the nurses are in the centre, and you're there. And they were all looking at my screen. I thought, oh, that's not great. And then a young nurse came in and said, oh, your blood pressure reading's ridiculous. We need to do a manual check because we think the machine's broken. And it turned out it wasn't. And then so they put me into intensive care. And I remember thinking, I've got work in the morning. I can't do intensive care or get this done. But I was in hospital for 10 days.
Jeez.
Yeah, and it turned out there was a lot of fluid on the lungs, and when your blood pressure's that high, it starts burning out.
Now, I think I saw the reading somewhere when we were reading up on it. Give us the reading.
The 260 over 160, so it should be 120 over 80.
No.
So,
I suffer from high blood pressure, and I thought mine was high.
Yeah,
but that's through the roof.
I don't. You shouldn't be proud of it, but I kind of am. I believe that might be a Nelson Hospital record. And someone's got to have the record.
That might be you.
Look, and I wouldn't like, to be honest, if anyone's game enough to challenge it, I'd ask questions. But yeah, it is high, it turns out.
I've been as high as 200 over something.
Yeah.
But mine fluctuated. It came down,
Yeah.
So, but when I saw that reading, I thought, wow, geez.
Yeah. It turns out it's a bit more serious than I never knew anything about blood pressure.
No.
It turns out it's quite serious.
Yeah.
And it starts burning out your puts pressure on all your vital organs. And supposedly you're quite close to a stroke.
Yeah.
I remember thinking it was an overreaction, but it turns out it wasn't. And they did some diagnosis and things like that, and it turned out I had late stage 4, early stage 5 kidney failure.
Jeez.
So, yeah.
And is that something that, like you mentioned that, you like a few beers, but I mean, a lot of guys do that and they don't end up having a kidney transplant. So is it just genetics? Is it just the fact that
we don't actually know?
Right.
So, because I did think, it's this lifestyle induced, and they said, well, you can't get yourself that high just on lifestyle alone. So
right.
There's obviously something going on, but your kidneys can cause high blood pressure. If they're failing, they can cause high blood pressure, and the other way around. And
yes.
They did ask to do a biopsy, but I thought it doesn't really matter. I know that they've got bad kidneys, so what's the point?
Yeah.
I didn't need to know what caused it.
So you initially thought it might have been asthma, but things escalated quickly because I believe I've heard that you led the doctors down the wrong path.
Well, I made an assumption. Made an assumption or planted a seed, but I legitimately did think it was. But
You wanted to get back to work, didn't you?
I had work the next day.
It doesn't matter what's wrong for me.
And the world revolves around you, and it's not until you're not involved that you kind of see it doesn't.
So that day when they said, this is your prognosis, and it was life changing. What was that moment like?
It was pretty well. I didn't know anything about it, and cell phone reception at the hospital wasn't great back then either. So I kind of couldn't Google it, but I didn't really know what it meant. And I was probably, underwhelmed. I wasn't too
Disappointed.
I wasn't too fazed by it because
Is that all it is?
yeah. And
pills.
yeah, and very naive. I dialysis is one of the treatments for kidney failure, and I kind of thought that was something you could just give it a hoon and see if that worked, and you could just sort of have a dabble in that and give it a try and see how that goes. And it turns out it's not. I think it was later on, the next couple of weeks afterwards, and things just sort of start learning a bit more, and that's when it becomes a bit more real.
Yeah.
And it, I still didn't really know what it sort of meant. Yeah, but
because one of the things, I had polycythemia vera, which is make too many red blood cells, and when I first found out, I wasn't able to speak to a specialist straight away. So of course you get on Dr. Google. Worst thing you can do.
Absolutely.
So the fact that you couldn't get onto Google was probably a good thing.
It was, yeah.
And something that Simon told me with his past history is just listen to the specialists.
Yeah.
Listen to the guys that deal with it every day. And so that's what I hang on to.
That's my advice. Yeah. So
so you basically talking to the doctors, you're facing years of medication and monitoring. So the options given to you, and how did you deal with that mentally and emotionally?
It's a good question because it's so you go on. I was primarily on blood pressure medication, and they had different side effects. So one of them was to constantly feel cold, and I actually found that the hardest. But I don't know if I dealt with it that well, to be honest. I thought I was, and but it probably really wasn't, because it's quite a strange situation to be in, knowing that that no matter what you do, you're going to get sicker, and you don't know what that looks like. So I suppose I didn't deal with it fantastically. At the time I did, but it's only in hindsight. I think, I was probably pretty rough on a few people and pretty difficult to be around. But no one tells you how you're supposed to get through that as well. And I was pretty lucky because I also didn't know anyone to talk to about it. I found that really difficult, and I was really lucky. I found a guy in Nelson who subsequently passed away, Tim Nelson. He was at Bailey's as a real estate agent. He'd had a kidney transplant, and he was just fantastic.
Right.
So,
Right.
Yeah, I got hold of him, and we'd never spoken. We ended up talking for about 4 hours one day, and he kind of laid it out for me and told me how things would be, and he was very, very good. So, So, probably became a bit of an arsehole. But that's how I dealt with it for a bit.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until they actually come along and say, well, that you're bad enough to need a transplant, because you have to get to a certain point where the benefits of a transplant outweigh the risks.
Yeah,
because you kind of just want them to get on and do it when they tell you need one. You just want it done, but you have to get to a point. There's a tipping point where it becomes the benefits outweigh the risks, and that's when you get it done.
Right.
It's quite hard to wait for that, but when you see that, then that becomes a bit easier to deal with.
Plus, trying to find a donor.
Yeah.
Then came along Andy.
Yeah. Well, I didn't have any problems there,
didn't you? Because he was a friend for over 2 decades.
Yeah, I met him at uni.
Uni.
Yeah.
How did you come to get this? Who offered to donate? How he became, or wanted to offer his kidney to you? I mean, did he ring up, or you rang up and said, "Look, do you like steak and kidney pie?" And he says, "Yes." So good. Can I have your kidney?
Yeah. No, well,
how'd you work it?
Well, I kind of like when they kind of say you're going to need a transplant, you might want to start looking for a donor. I never asked them. I made it known around my mates and family and things that I might need about what was going on, and then I lost quite a bit of weight because there was so much fluid. So I was down about 92 kilos, which I hadn't been since I was about 13 or 14 years old. And I saw Andy at Christmas, and we went to the pub, and normally I would have had a beer And this is only 3 months afterwards, and I had a soda water, and apparently I looked grey. I thought I looked fantastic. And it turns out he decided that day that he'd offer me a kidney. And so I think he'd started the process when he rang up and told me that he'd like to go through with it, which was pretty cool.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. And it's quite, yeah.
And,
sort of-
I mean, do you have to find the right kind of kidney? I mean, how?
Yeah.
Anyone walk off the street, or do you have to find a match?
You've got to find a match, so it's got to be a blood match.
You'll do.
Yeah.
Oi,
What's the blood group?
come with us.
Yeah. Well, I did weigh, you do start looking at people and what their kidneys are like. And
Well, you
how
know,
are going to get to know them.
Somebody-
Yeah.
come to my bathroom. I've got a big bag of ice.
Yeah.
That's right.
But you do start. Yeah, it's based on blood types. You have to be a
right.
blood type match, and so I was O positive, I think. And I think Andy might have been O negative. I might have that round the wrong way, but you have to be a blood match, and effectively he was. There's kind of like 6 markers, and we lined up on most of those. I had a feeling it was because we're both pasty white guys, and that was pretty much what led us to be thing. But we never had any problems, like
Similar lifestyles.
Similar lifestyle. He was in better nick than me. He looked after himself. He ran and did all sorts of things. So yeah. But no, it was just just an amazing thing that it matched, and to get it from a good mate as well was just unbelievable. Yeah.
We read that after you went through the process and the kidney worked, there's a text saying, telling him, "Bro, your kidney is the shit."
Yeah, I don't remember actually sending him.
I thought at first, when I first read it, "Bro, your kidney is shit."
Oh. But I think that's what I meant to say. Yeah.
I mean, it was good.
Yeah.
But you were saying off camera about the fact with people with heart transplants sometimes pick up. There's a feeling they pick up the traits of the donor.
Yeah. I'd read articles, like a woman who had a heart transplant and suddenly became interested in F1. She'd never liked it in her life, and that's what she
F1.
Formula One. And yeah, so I remember this a couple of days before the operation, sending Andy a text and going, "Look, you're a single guy in your 40s. You've adopted your neighbour's cat. If there's anything you want to tell me, just let me know. I'm okay with whatever, but I'd just prefer to be warned." The only thing that I've actually had is that he couldn't stand, he doesn't like fizzy drinks and stuff. I used to guzzle it. I haven't touched it.
Right.
So out of all the things, that's not a bad one to have. But we tried to. I think when you're about to go through like an operation, you have a choice to make how you react to what's going on. And you can either feel sorry for yourself, I'm going to spend some time in hospital, or you can choose how you react. So I kind of made a conscious decision when I went to the hospital that I'd have fun, because they don't want me there. I don't want to be there. So we might as well have, enjoy the journey as such. So so that was definitely a conscious decision to react positively to the situation, because it was a life-changing operation.
So what's the percentage success rate of a transplant?
Oh, I haven't dived too deep into it, but
I mean, at the time, rather than...
So yeah, some can fail on like the first day. I've met a couple of people who've had. I've got one guy I know who's failed the day of the operation. He got a blood clot and the kidney failed, and his son had donated to him. So those sort of things are pretty hard. I'm not sure exactly what the statistics are, but I think it's around the 5-year mark. Is I think there's something like 90% are okay, or something like that. I could have that completely wrong.
Yeah.
But I had also had when you have a transplant, there's how you get it actually, and where you get it from impacts the success rate. So if you can have a what's called a preemptive transplant, so you haven't been on dialysis, which is what I got, and if you get it from a live donor, and if you've also got your kidney failure from like high blood pressure as opposed to diabetes or an underlying health, but you have the best chance. So I got the smoothest road through that I possibly could. Yeah. So I was really lucky.
The surgery is 2022. where they did, dice and slice, and you
Yeah.
stood back up, and I'd say you felt as though you had a second chance in life,
Absolutely.
and just how that changed you, either physically or mentally. What came out of it? Because people always say, it does change you when you've been through.
Yeah.
You're not stubbing your toe with a small sniffle.
No, you're not. No, but I think one of the things is that you can't. It's a difficult time when you can't avoid it. So in life you can avoid most things that are hard. You can put them off doing that, and when you're faced with something like that, you've got to do it. And it's quite. You come out like how would you describe it? You come out. Because I didn't know whether I could go through it, but not only did I do it, I was forced to do something hard, but I got through it really well, and I was pretty happy with myself how I got through it. And once you've been through that, you can kind of go, shit, if I can handle that, there's not much that I couldn't do.
Yeah.
So I suppose and you also come out like I had faith in because when your kidneys are failing, you kind of lose trust in your body. And when you get that back, it's quite a massive boost. And like I had a few hiccups post the transplant where I ended up spending having to go back to Christchurch a few times, and I knew that I could handle those. Like it was no problem. I literally reckon anything could have happened to me, and I was quite comfortable with it. It was bring it on as opposed to being worried about it, because it was like it was. I was so confident in my ability to go through that tough stuff.
Yeah.
So I think that's how it is. It was kind of the first time that I had to really deal with something difficult that I couldn't get away from. And I think going through that and coming out the other side and going, shit, I actually did really well at that. Gives you a massive, it literally does. Yeah.
One of the things that Simon said with what he'd been through in the past, and he said to me was, you just get up every day and do what you'd normally do. Yeah. Just carry on. This is about once you go through that process, and then you got life. You still got to live life, and the important thing is just to move forward with positive attitude each day, and do what you normally do. And it's amazing by having that attitude how that soon goes to the back seat, and life becomes normal again. And you got to remind yourself that. If I'm a bit stressed out, well, at least life's normal.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm okay. I'm above ground.
Yeah. Because the last hour and the next hour don't really matter. It's living in the present.
Yeah. I think you do that, and it's the other thing is that you wake up with just gratitude every day. Like it's so easy to find positive things in just everyday life. Like it might be raining outside, but you're like, shit, this is not so bad. I'm here and available to do it. And I think you also, rather than worrying about the past or looking forward, you learn to live in the present more, which I think is good as well.
It's funny with that example I use, living in the present, is when I went through my kidney image cancer and bits and pieces, and she said, well, what's it like? I said, that was easy. Imagine being 4 billion sperms racing towards having a race that you win.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Simple.
Yeah.
A miracle that we're here. So you and Andy, so you later together would, talk about a close friendship and kinship. You both later competed in the World Transplant Games in Perth, which we just shared that we've both lived there, and you're now president of the New Zealand Transplant Games Association. So obviously that gave you another interest, didn't it? Because not only did you compete in the games, but also you've met a whole new community, haven't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So the Transplant Games came around because literally while we were in the hospital, cell phone reception in Christchurch Hospital is a lot better. And you're Googling stuff, and I'm trying to work out, if there's anything on. And I read Dom Harvey's running book and thought, this sounds pretty good. I should get into running. Because always, when I was sick, my mates were all into running, and they go away and do these events. I think, that looks really good. And anyway, I Googled and saw the Transplant Games and thought, it looks fantastic. Because I wasn't an All Black or didn't play for the Black Caps, but this was something I now qualified for.
Yeah.
And so I texted Andy while we were in the hospital, and we decided then that we'd go to the games, and the next one from Perth. And just once you're there, like every single person there has a backstory, and they could be recipients from a heart, a lung, kidney, liver transplants, bone marrow transplants, or they could be live donors or deceased donor family members go as well. Yeah, so it's an amazing community. Everyone there is positive. They're all just happy to be alive. None of them feel sorry for themselves, and they just get on and do it. It's quite a refreshing place to be.
Be eye-opening.
Yeah.
Racing rod for Rānui?
Yes.
Who came up with that? One of the standout features of the spectacle, sponsored by Puma.
Nice for you to say it. Stand out.
Stand out. We've got legs. What's it all about, and why is it so important to you personally?
Well, so I stayed. Firstly, what's important to me is I stayed. I had 28 nights in Rānui. So Ranui House is it's kind of like Ronald McDonald House, but for everyone. So it's in Christchurch. It's set up for families from the regions, so like Nelson, all throughout the South Island, the Chatham Islands, and it's for families to stay together while they're going through major medical treatment in Christchurch. And so I stayed there. Yeah, I had 28 nights, so a couple before my transplant, and then a few hiccups later on, and ended up staying there. And I never really considered that as part of my sort of kidney journey until an opportunity came up. Like, it didn't cost me anything to stay there for those 28 nights, so I always wanted to do something to give back to them. And then an opportunity came up at the Christchurch Marathon to raise some money for them, which I did, and that was great fun. And then so there was always something in the back of my mind. And then one day I was watching a Sunday night, was watching a YouTube video about some Australians that tried to break the world marathon record in on a track, doing it in 400-metre lots. And I thought, it'd be great for a fundraiser. And then I thought, you'd do that down at Christchurch Marathon with Rānui and get these other people involved. And I thought I should get Julian involved, because what a great runner. And so I actually came in here to talk to Julian about it. And he flipped it round, said to use the track here. We've got the closed off streets. And then I thought we were going to break the world marathon time, try and challenge that, until we worked out that it's actually pretty hard to do. And then Julian came up with the idea to, with Rod Dixon being a Nelsonian, to try and match or better his New York Marathon time of 2:08:59. So that's how it was born, and it was kind of in a couple of months it all came together, and we did it last year. Yeah.
Fantastic. So that now appears again this year at the spectacle.
We had a lot of fun. We broke a lot of men, but it was great fun, and we raised just under $17,000.
Oh wow!
And we actually did it. We did it really well. We kind of did too well, because it ruined our next few years' fundraising efforts. Because we did it in an hour 46. 19. We thought we were amazing, but when you consider that Rod, that was 60 of us, and we were sprinting 200 meters, and Rod did it by himself in 2 hours 9. It just shows you like how good he was. But so that 17, it's about $180 a night for a family of 4 to stay in Ranui House, and 20% of the people that stay there are from the top of the south. So on average, that works out about 9 people a night are staying in Rānui from our region.
Wow!
And so and it's not for people from Christchurch. It's for people from the regions. Christchurch people can stay with their family, stay in their own home. So that's kind of why it's important for us. And there's so many Nelson families that use it. And I've met so many people through doing this who use it as well. So that's why it's important for me personally.
And a big shout out for Mandy down there in Christchurch at Rānui.
For Mandy, she does a good job, and Jodie Gill down there as well. They do a fantastic work for people there. It's a great place.
And they got a few backstories about this fella.
Yeah, I know. Should we share them?
Time is pushing on.
I tried to get some, but I'm still waiting for the email.
No.
Still waiting.
It's on the cover.
Obviously got something over them. Nelson Marlborough Insurance Brokers. So you're involved in that, and they've also come on as a sponsor of the spectacle. Is that right?
Yeah. We're I think we're a local hero, and the reason is though, I just love what these guys are doing. They've had the audacity to take on organising an event for the region, but not one, not starting out with
that's
fundraise,
right.
they've gone all in, and I think that's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
What a great thing, and doing something for the region that brings people in and helps so many people. But I just love how much they've bit off, and I think that's amazing. They've thought, thinking big and delivering on it as well, and throwing in a concert at the end.
So, bit of a plug for the business. What do you guys mainly get involved with in the insurance side of things?
Yeah, we're foreign general insurance brokers. So things, not people, and predominantly businesses, just around the region. And we've it's myself and a business partner, Chris Collins, and we've got 4 other staff there. I think been going since 1973, all in total, with Chris purchasing the business and then me coming in. So it's great fun. We enjoy it, and we've got it's a good community to be a part of, and we basically go out and see a bunch of people doing cool things and provide them with risk advice around that. So it's great.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And finally, what's the one message you want people to take away about organ donation, gratitude, or living life fully after getting that second chance? How would you?
Yeah, I think it's.
What's your motto?
I think it's that people can do things that are a lot hard. They can actually do those difficult things that you might not think you can, but you can, and that's where all the magic lies in those doing those difficult things. And a lot of people have said to me, I could go through with a kidney transplant or do this or do that. Well, it's because they've never had to, and you can do it when you're forced to do it. You've got no other choice. You can actually get out there and do it. And just in regards to like organ donation, and it's just such an amazing thing. You're giving someone a second. It's literally the most unselfish thing that I can think of doing. And if you're like in particular with deceased donors, like their last thing they do on earth is one of incredible generosity. I just think that's amazing. So, and their families, at their worst time, they're thinking of other people. So it's quite it's a special thing. Very, very special. So I just I suppose we're so lucky to be here, and get out, and it can all go away so quickly. So just don't sweat the small stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Give.
Yeah.
Better give to receive, and actually carry on.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, so you'll shout after this. That's great.
Exactly.
Well, Conal, thank you very much for sharing your story, mate. It's really is an inspiring story.
Thanks for that.
And Andy, your mate, what a great kinship that is. I mean, I'm sure that he never knew when he was born that one day he'd give up one of his kidneys to some bloke he went to university with. So. And that friendship continues, which is fantastic. And also good luck with Racing Rod for Rānui. What a great great fundraiser.
We've still got space if you guys want to come and bust out
200 metres, is it?
Well, it's 250 this year.
Oh, jeez.
We had our first training session yesterday, and it's fair to say we were thinking of changing it back after yesterday's effort. But no, people, So we've got our Raisley website. If people Google Racing Rod for Rānui, they should find our Raisley page. And if anyone wants to get involved, we'd welcome them, particularly if they're fast.
Yeah, that's right.
We've got a few broken down people that are running around here, so it'd be good to have them. Yeah.
All right, and also well done on coming on board with the spectacle, powered by Puma, and it's this December. Big thank you to Matthews Eyewear for hosting us today in the Matthews Sports Vision shop. Come in and check out the great accessories and sunglasses and accessories. Very nice in here indeed. Thank you very much once again, Simon.
Thank you.
Thanks to everyone for tuning in to Talk of the Town, brought to you by Uniquely Nelson. We'll catch you next time.
And I always say, people that kidney together stay together. Thank you, Andy.